Welcome to the Ride of My Life podcast. I'm Rena, and I'll be sharing with you what it's like as I go out on the road while working through the emotions and challenges that go along with it. As I develop my knowledge and awareness, I hope to connect with you on this journey. Hey everyone, welcome to the Ride of My Life podcast. I'm Rena, and today's podcast is going to be a little bit different because usually I kind of follow the guidance of my blog and pretty much go through what I talked about in there. But this one is kind of like an add-on to that. So if you want to see what the blog, I basically talk about what's been going on and the energies of trauma coming out as I walk through getting ready to go on the road early next month, which of course challenges me in a whole array of ways. So I think, you can go ahead and read that because I think that's important to give you a more clear understanding of where I'm coming from. But I just wanted today to go into a couple of things because it's all really energetically surfacing. So with trauma, the body, I've talked about this before. There's Dr. Bessel van der Kolk wrote a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and it talks about PTSD and trauma, but he tested soldiers with the PTSD that they experience after war and that type of thing. There is another type of PTSD that I've talked about called complex PTSD, which can include my understanding of the regular PTSD. However, it also involves the emotions where it's like stacked on top of each other. Any type of micro trauma, macro trauma, small teeny weeny thing that feels like it could be huge for someone who's been through trauma. It stacks on top of each other. And then when something happens in life, big or small, the feeling comes up again because it's locked in our system, and it reactivates and flashbacks people into the past of feeling that as someone who was not, didn't feel safe as a child, or, whatever the experience was. And, this whole experiment project, Ride of My Life, whatever I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's let's go back to experiment. I'm working through this. Like, for example, I used to do some research on Carl Jung, who was a therapist. I don't know if he was a psychiatrist, but I think he was a psychotherapist. And I found out at one point that he wrote this huge book called The Red Book, which I believe I never read it because it was just too intense for me. But what he did for himself was he used himself as his own experiment to see how his psyche worked and how he was able to process and do what he does through finding out about the consciousness and all that type of thing. Again, I'm not that well versed in it, but I do know, basics about Carl Jung, and I feel like it's my calling to do that. And, in this process of getting ready, going through Christmas, the Christmas season, the holiday season, the challenges that I had gone through with my own children and not having seen them for a long time. That's a whole nother story. Some of you know about it. Others you can, it's the past. I don't go back into that because I'm in the present moment. I'm still here. I'm still working through things in the moment, and I'm still enjoying my life in the moment. Amazingly, but little things come up, little things creep up. And working through the energies of what trauma does to the body in real time is kind of where I'm coming from. It's like sometimes it just doesn't feel good. Sometimes it sucks as I'm going through it. However, I can also feel shifts and changes and understandings, and I'm more aware and I'm more observant. Like I've talked about the fact that I used to dissociate years ago because that was my safe space. And now instead of dissociating, which that just means you kind of go blank and you just check out of the world because something is happening in front of you that you're trying to protect yourself from. That's what I used to do. I haven't done that. Now what's happening is as these things come up, as these pieces come up in my life, I'm facing them, I'm sitting with them, I'm experiencing them, I'm screaming and crying and going through all kinds of things with them. However, I am also releasing them, and it shifts things every day. It doesn't change the fact that, you know, being angry with life, you know, sometimes we get angry with God, sometimes we get angry with ourselves. It's all there. It's all human. That's humanity. That's how we get to, I feel like that's why we're here, to work through this stuff and get this out and connect with, you know, whatever our higher power is, source or God or, you know, whatever, Allah. It doesn't, and then the fact that we are connecting with ourselves at the same time. And the only way to do that is to release what no longer serves us. Now it's interesting because a few years ago, a friend of mine gave me the idea of being a decluttering coach, to do declutter work, because I had moved so many times and I had decluttered so many times, and, you know, whatever. I learned a lot from that for this purpose right now. It's like when we declutter our space, our minds tend to declutter. I mean, something as simple as like cleaning out a kitchen drawer. I've talked about this before. It opens up the space. I remember when I was younger with my kid, when I did have my kids with me, and I would do spring cleaning, and I mean, I'm talking my 20s or 30s, whatever it was, but every year I would do spring cleaning. I would open the windows. I would, clean everything out top to bottom and wherever I was living. And by the time I was done, it was like, there's freedom right there. You know, it was like, it felt so fresh and new, and my brain was clear. And considering the fact that I have a very active brain, that's very helpful to me. But anyway, yeah, so it's like decluttering and trauma and any type of addiction. Sometimes addictions go along with these things. It's all wrapped up in the same package. It's all in here. And my intention and goal in this is to not only be vulnerable, which is not easy for me because I used to hold everything inside and really not, I would talk about the things that were happening to me, but I couldn't talk about my feelings because I really couldn't even feel them. I was numb, and I feel them now. And that's a good thing because that's what we're meant to do as humans. And just being able to get out there to connect and share what I'm going through, and in dealing and working through all this stuff that's happening to get ready even. And then on top of that, there's this big piece that's, I feel like, is going on at the same time, because I'm releasing old energies of the things that happened in my past. Like, for example, Christmas time is a time where I was not able to be with my kids. And now I'm still technically not. I'm kind of sort of used to not, but the energy of the season. My dad used to get into Christmas and put the huge tree up with a million ornaments, and he loved it. And just the memories of all that. And, you know, like I might tear up on this one. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, every year on Christmas Eve, I used to sit quietly by the tree and just stare at it, and, you know, kind of cross my eyes so the lights would just kind of, you know, blend together. And it was just this beautiful feature in front of me. And I connected with my dad, I connected with my kids, I connected with, you know, just life, what's coming, what's past, what's gone. This year's different, obviously, because of the transformation. And okay, so I'm tearing up. I'm not upset. I'm just working through the energies of it. And that's what it looks like. So if you happen to see me and I look sad or I'm crying or whatever, yeah, there's a lot of that in there, but it isn't like on the forefront. It's just seeping out, coming to the surface for me to just let it go, and that's so important. And then the other piece, the main piece of this is just being able to trust myself and life and my higher power that all is going to work out fine. We have been through so much over the last, almost 2 years. March will be 2 years. And it's been a lot on people. And, and for me, I'm very sensitive to other people's energies and feelings and stuff like that. So sometimes I'm getting much, 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 much better at it, but sometimes I don't, or I can feel what other people are feeling. So it's hard for me to distinguish whether it's mine or the rest of the world going, into sadness or into whatever. And so now those are some things I'm, kind of walking through to figure out whether it's me or not. And it's working. It's just part of this process because it's helping me to let go of all this stuff that I've been feeling and connecting with other people and, finding things out. I spoke to a lady yesterday who I told her what I was doing, and it made me feel sad because, she's forcing herself. And I guess she's somewhere around my age because she said her kids were pretty close to what my kids are in age. But she's forcing herself to do what she's doing, working full time, 1 or 2 jobs, something, and desperately wanting to do something like what I'm about to embark on. She feels obligated, so obligated, even at her to be around her children and her grandchildren, because she thinks that they are going to tell her that she's, a bad mother, a bad grandmother. That's not fair. I mean, you can't put your stuff on someone else to make them feel like they have to do something just because they think they're going to lose you. Maybe because from my perspective, I've been through that loss already. And it was really hard for me to feel her pain because I know what that feels like. And at this point, I don't know what it feels like to feel so obligated anymore. I was always obligated. In fact, I did that. I was in the Army. I stayed where I did because they wouldn't let me go anywhere else. I felt obligated to stay in that area. I tried to get closer to my kids. That didn't work. So I obligated myself to stay there until such time where it didn't work or wasn't necessary. I don't even know what word to use. Life moved on, I guess. And, but feeling her pain, I was connecting with that. And I actually felt bad for her because, that obligation locks us down. That obligation turns us into, maybe that's the fear. Maybe that's the, anxiety or whatever that comes up, even for me, because I get locked into my safe space where I'm at right now, but it's not safe. It's, what's the word? Suffocating, it gets to the point where, because I'm such a gypsy minded person, that just being in one place for a long time suffocates me, even though I've adapted to it. And anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that there's so much heartache, there's so much anguish, there's so much pain, there's so much of this going on around the world because of what's been going on. And if there's any way that, me being out there being vulnerable can alleviate some of that for me and for other people. Obviously I have to do this for me first, and it may sound selfish the way I do stuff or whatever, but if I don't do it for me, then others can't see what that looks like. and connect with that and maybe pick up on it and know that they have the exact capacity or close, some capacity to do it in their way, to heal in their way, to shift in their way. And this has not so far been an easy journey, but it's been very powerful for me. And for me to get out there like this is not something I've been, thinking about doing a podcast for probably, I want to say about 6 years now, and through those 6 years, I had to work through some of this stuff to get to the point where, it's okay to just start breaking through that fear and getting out here. This is not an easy thing to do for this type of thing that I'm doing. But it's fun. It's eye-opening. It's especially in meeting other people and talking to them. It's powerful. It's just, I don't know. It's like one of the most incredible things I've done in my life. And I'm going to tell you, I know I'm going to be walking through stuff that's going to, set me back here and there. And I get that, but it won't be back. It's like, there is a 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but there's always more 2 steps forward. So we're still going forward. I'm still going forward, I'm still going up that mountain I talk about, because the mountain goes at different levels. Every time we climb up the mountain, we don't go straight up. That's impossible. Well, for some people it's impossible, but when you're walking up the mountain, you're going up in this circular motion. So every time you come to the same spot, you're higher, you see things different. There's a different perception, so it's so powerful. I will tell you that. And it's a work in progress. I mean, that's really the best thing I can say about this. I do know that I'm using the tools that I share with you, which, by the way, I have one I want to share. But one of the tools that I use, and I've talked about this before, is Sarah Blondin has this incredible, I don't even know how to explain this incredible soothing voice. And she has these 2, now I've got oh boy, that's good timing. Somebody mowing the lawn. I've got 2 meditations that I do that are hers. One is called Remembering Trust, and the other one is a message of hope. And one of the things that she says in a message of hope is about her son, who's 3 years old, was going through something that he just had such a hard time with. And not everybody gets this experience with their parent. I didn't. And she walked up to him and she put her hands on his cheeks and looked in his eyes and told him to look into her eyes. I can't remember exactly what the word she used, but she looked in there and she said, "You're okay, you're okay, you're okay. I'm okay." I mean, that's the thing. It's like being able to do something like that, looking at myself doing that, because usually I don't look at myself, is actually helping. Here it comes. But that's just something, listening to that, to be able to help yourself walk through it. I really went through a process with that the other night. It was so helpful. And then one of the biggest things that's helped me as well, believe it or not, and people who work in this industry probably already know this, but this just happens to be an empty bottle of wild orange essential oil. And while lavender helps to relax you when you're in trauma, or you're having a flashback, or something is going on where you can't get out of it, lavender's not going to help, because lavender, you have to it puts you in a place of relaxation, but your body's already going like this, so it's hard to get in there. What I do in any circumstances, I did this, I remember when Hurricane Irma came through back in 2017, where I was sitting in a laundry room with a friend of mine, waiting for it to go over 180 mile an hour winds, whatever that was back then. And it was literally scaring the crap out of me. So that was a little traumatizing. But I took this bottle, this empty bottle of wild orange, and I just breathed it. I just breathed it in. And yesterday I had a dental appointment and they wanted to use lavender. And I was like, no, can we try the orange. And I did it. And oh my gosh, my entire body just like settled in and relaxed. I don't like going to the dentist. I had traumas as a child with the dentist. So being able to just relax into the sensation of smelling and feeling the energy, because there's a vibration that orange has, well, that all essential oils have to heal the body. And so I would highly recommend getting a bottle of this. I mean, you can, I don't know how, I don't usually like put it under my nose or anything like that, but I do smell it. You can use it for other things, maybe putting it on your wrist and, smelling it on there. But once you get to the bottom of the bottle, don't get rid of it, because it still holds the essence of the smell and the essence of the healing. And it's just an incredible, it's good stuff. Anyway, so I highly recommend for flashbacks, traumatic experiences. This has helped me. It may not help you. It may, I don't know that, but it's a good start. So there's one thing. And then of course I've talked about the breathing. There's always the other thing I do is tapping, EFT tapping. I don't know if you know about it, great. If you don't, it's very helpful to walk through things. So I listen to Brad Yates. I do know there's another guy out there who does that. That's very helpful. And definitely exercise, walking, getting your body moving, getting that energy out, even if you have to pacing, if you start pacing during a traumatic or whatever situation or experience in life, and you start doing that, that's just your body trying to get rid of that extra energy. So it's normal for you to pace. It doesn't feel right, but it's normal. So anyway, okay. I think that's about it. I did say this at the end of my blog. It's like when I started this part of my journey, I probably needed to warn both myself and you to buckle up, because this is just the beginning. I don't know what's coming next. I don't know what's happening. The more I talk about it, the more I get on, these podcasts, through talking about it actually helps me. So that's probably why I'm doing this. So anyway, all right. So like I said, buckle up, get ready for the next piece of the ride of my life. I appreciate your listening and being here, and just want to throw out there, I don't, if you have the feeling of going onto YouTube and subscribing to my channel, if you want to follow me, apparently there's a bell you have to hit so you can get notices when I put out a new episode, whatever. But somehow I need to get the first part of this, so they push it out there up to 1,000. So if you're listening and you have friends that are willing to listen to this and, whatever, great, wonderful. If not, that's okay too. But this is just something I would hope would help other people. And it's definitely helping me to help in order to be of service to you. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, night, wherever you are, and blessings to you, and talk to you soon. All right.